Anyways, my name is Anthony, SpokenAnthony. I did initially title this live Overcoming Hardships, and I was having some technical difficulties, and I stopped it and started, and I didn't pay attention to what's on there before I hit live. So, whatever. Anyways, I hope you guys doing good. I got some more time to kill. I got about 30 minutes or so to kill, so I just want to come out here and talk. Um, let's talk about anything in the next 30 minutes or so. Right now, I was just kind of thinking about things, and I'm just thinking about overcoming hardships. And the reason I say that, when I was younger, I was homeless. I was homeless for too long. I was homeless for about 3 months at the most, I want to say. And when I say when I was younger, it was around in my early 20s. And the main reason I was homeless was just because of my pride. There was options that would have, I had options, let me put it that way. I just didn't like the options that I have. How did I become homeless? Okay. So when I was younger, I had a job. I had a great job. The job I was making, the job I had at the time, I was making close to 70 some odd thousand a year. And keep in mind, when I say 70 some odd thousand a year, that's good today, but it was really great back then, back in around 2007 area. But it was a stressful job. Yeah, it was about 2007, 2008. It was a very stressful but high paying job, great bonuses and everything else. And I was getting ready to move to another location that company was at, because I was going to try to follow my dreams, and it'll be easier to have a high paying job, try to follow my dreams. And long story short, I was trying to be in the FBI. Well, what ended up happening was I found out that I got the worst woman possible pregnant. And with her being pregnant, I was like, okay, obviously I can't move, so I gotta stay here. So while I was going through that process of changing myself in my mindset from being a single man to now having a young baby, or getting ready to have a young baby, I had to leave that stressful job. And the main reason I had to leave that stressful job is because, like I said, I had the worst woman possible pregnant, and with her being pregnant, she was very irresponsible, very selfish, and she really didn't care for the kid at all. So I had to find a less stressful job to deal with that. In between that time frame, though, I lost my job, I lost my place, and I was homeless. Now I could have went and asked for help from friends or family. I had plenty of people that would have took me in, but because of my pride and I didn't want people to think lower of me, I just figured it out. I went from a nice 2-bedroom apartment, living alone, to hopping from abandoned buildings, and that's how I stayed. Uh, Hello, sir. Hi, from Jasper, Indiana, India. Oh, cool. Nice to meet you. So, hello from Brazil. Nice to meet you too. So yeah, what ended up happening was I would go from abandoned building to abandoned building to sleep in, and some of those buildings had like running water. I'll keep myself clean, and then I would go to like the local. I forgot what it's called now, but it's like it helps you find jobs and stuff. You can go and apply and use resumes. They help you with things like that. And I did that until I found a new job in a new place. And once I had a new job in a new place, I eventually got myself back on my feet. What ended up happening was that I had to move in with a family member for like a month until I got my first couple paychecks, and then I moved from there into my own place. Now, could I have stayed with that family member a lot longer? Absolutely. However, though, the family member was my father, and me and my father, we just didn't get along like that. But you had to do what you had to do to, support your family or your kid. Was that easy? No. If I wasn't prideful, could I have got out of that situation a lot sooner? Absolutely. But because I was prideful, I made things harder for myself. And that's the thing, though. We can overcome hardships without a problem. And that's why I have an issue when people judge homeless people, because you never know what people are going through. And we are all, especially if you're in the United States right now, we are all one or two paychecks away from being homeless. I mean, let's be real here. The economy right now sucks. Everything is super high and overinflated. And then when you see other countries and their food prices and the cost for gas and living, it makes you realize that we're just being messed over overall. Then on top of that, if you look at the quality of homes that's being built, one thing I've noticed is we look at a lot of homes overseas, that those homes are built to last. A lot of them are made like out of concrete and brick and solid stuff like that. Compared to the homes in the United States, the majority of them are made out of, especially the newer homes. Excuse me, the newer homes. They're made out of plywood, the recycled wood. What's that stuff called? Sheetrock. Things that can crumble easily, and which adds on to the higher home prices and the higher insurances and things of that nature. And then you look at the quality of homes, they may not be the prettiest. They could survive a hurricane, they could survive an earthquake, they could survive a tornado, no problem. And here we have one of those. Our whole entire city is flattened out, and then it's just kind of like, oh, okay, so what do we pay all this money for? We pay too much for stuff that just doesn't last. And somehow we got into the mindset that just because it's pretty is better. Pretty doesn't always get better. I much rather have me an old home from like that was built in the 1920s, 50s, and I know it will last longer, because in my hometown, a lot of the older houses, even though they may have been built out of wood, it wasn't built out of immature wood. It was built from wood that was aged very well and had a lot stronger, or made out of concrete and bricks, things of that nature. Unlike the cookie cutter homes here that we have now today, they're not designed to last for 10 years later. But anyways, I'm just rambling right now. I just have some time to kill. Subscribe if you already haven't. Let me know if there's something you want to talk about. I'm just out here thinking. I said I would try to go live more often, if not officially on my computer doing a video topic, then at the very least on my phone just talking to people, just get to interact, things of that nature. I will say this: I am working on a new video that I'm thinking about doing. Here's my thing about doing videos, and if you're watching right now, I want to hear your opinion on it in general. That I was thinking about doing a video of all the right wing hypocrites, and that's the thing I'm thinking about doing. And what I mean by that is, there have been a very strong effort to sit here and cover up all the stuff that the right is doing. Is it not necessarily just between the judges, the supporters? There's a man recently who was seen taking a picture with Trump, who was part of Turning Point, who was accused of cheese pizza loving. It's a lot of stuff like that you see a lot. You see a lot of hate crimes, but yet on the news, whenever you see the president on there, you always see him talking about Antifa, the left, but he completely ignores the people that he pardoned, that's causing a lot of issues and damage. And I'm just kind of curious how y'all feel about that. I can't tell what that is there, but that's cool, I guess. I don't know. Say 6'7". I still don't know what 6'7" means. So I've been seeing a lot of people do like the whole entire 6'7" and wave their hands up and down. I still don't get what it means. I tried asking my daughter, who is younger. She's like a teenager. I'll say, so what does 6'7" mean? And she was like, it just means 6'7". So I was like, okay, so why do people say 6'7"? Like, I don't like saying things that I don't necessarily know what they mean or the meaning behind it. But, it is what it is, though. Hey, what's going on? 666XXX. The interesting thing about the number 666, it never bothered me. I remember back in the day when I was younger, people always say, those are the devil's numbers. But I was just like, nah, it's only the devil's numbers you believe in it. So I always say, like, whenever you work at a job and there's like a consecutive 666, I remember there was a woman who was trying to pray, and I was like, why are you praying? She was like, because I got 666. And I was like, it only works if you believe in it. I truly do believe that a lot of the times that when we put energy into negative things or fear into negative things or into a certain object, then yes, that object does have power over us, or that ideal concept have power over us. But it's just a bunch of numbers. And then you also get into the argument how the Bible today is not the same Bible of like 200 years ago. It consistently always changing. So it is what it is. But just like how they're trying to change the Constitution and stuff, or make little edits here and there, it's getting a lot harder to hide the changes. Because before, the people who write this stuff, publish this stuff, they can make small changes, and you wouldn't necessarily know it because the general masses didn't always read it in detail. However, though, whenever it comes right down to like today, you have people who knows as he changes, they could publish a video about it, and the whole entire world would know about it. So it's a lot harder to hide stuff now. But how's everybody else doing though? I got about another 20 minutes to be on here just talking and rambling. If you haven't checked out any of my other videos, go ahead and check them out. I did a video talking about Ayesha Curry, in my opinion, on her. I think it's like the weirdest thing when it comes to Ayesha Curry, to be honest with you, because she's coming from a place of privilege, but yet she still seems unhappy. And that's kind of one of those things where it's like, down if you do and down if you don't. I've seen plenty of women on TikTok and YouTube that are making videos of Steph Curry that are telling him that they will never emasculate him and disrespect him, and they'll be quiet and just have his kids. If they want that, they'll sit here and cook if he wants that. There are all kinds of women out there that are willing to just submit to Steph Curry and do whatever he wants. And I'm not saying Steph Curry's a perfect man. I don't know how they are behind closed doors. But the one thing I will say is, when you have a major advantage, because the one thing about Ayesha Curry, she doesn't necessarily have to start from scratch. She doesn't have to worry about funding. All she has to do is go to their joint bank account, because I'm pretty sure they have a joint bank account. If they don't have a joint bank account, then they have she can just get access to whatever money he's earned and start whatever business she wanted to. And in the video I talked about, I was just like, you know what? She has had multiple businesses. She even wrote a cookbook. She's done everything she said she wanted, but she's still not happy. And that kind of makes me curious, like, is she just not happy because it all became part of her? And I'll give you an example of that. I remember my ex. She told me when we first, my ex, before we got married, she told me at first how she wanted to go 50-50 on everything. And I was like, okay, you sure? Because I'm old fashioned. I don't mind necessarily just paying for everything, like the major stuff. That's just what it is. She was like, no, I want to, blah, blah, blah. I want to make sure I carry my own weight. She wanted to go 50-50 until she saw what 50-50 was. Once she saw what 50-50 was, then she was like, well, how about I just pay this stuff here? And that's okay. I was just like, yeah, I don't mind you just paying like the power bill or the water bill. I'll take care of the more major stuff. That's fine. You know what? I've been nosy something when it comes to my lives lately. If I ever mention anything about the Republican Party, if I mention anything about, the white and blue state, I don't know why we can't say Israel anymore. If I mention anything about that, a lot of my lives are just zeroed out. Like they get no more attention anymore. But if I talk about anything else, I have a good flow of people coming through here. But once I mention them, it's the craziest thing. you get suppressed automatically. I noticed that in real time. I noticed that on my videos. I noticed that on my lives, and not just on this platform. It's everywhere. It's pretty freaky to realize and see in real time, living in today, that whenever you just mention one entity in the state, ideally where you're supposed to have free speech, you get censored. You get shadow banned. 'Cause I didn't say anything inappropriate. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't understand how we got to the point to where we can't even say Israel without being censored. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Or if you try to criticize the right, you get censored. It doesn't make any sense anymore. It's not like you all hear this cursing. It's not like you're sitting here saying it's like, if I was a black person that's insulting other black people or insulting left-leaning people, I will have a ton of followers. I will have a lot of people, a lot of interaction, things of that nature. But because our government is ran by all red, and because that red is also ran by white and blue, it's just like they talk so much about other countries, but right here in America, you noticing right now, the freedoms that they claim that you have, you really don't have. And I've been noticing when I watch the news, there was a recent story talking about that supposedly that soldiers was attacked in Iraq, and I'm just like, nah, because you really pay attention to what's been going on. This is part of the plan to try to get us more involved over there in the Middle East, and unfortunately, we have leadership that's so hungry to go to war that I can see it happening within. Honestly, I can see us being involved in another war before the midterm elections, and I can see, or if not by then for sure by the end of 2027, 2028, we're going to be involved in another war. It's obvious. The writing is on the wall everywhere. Even though we have nothing to do with any of the conflicts in the Middle East, it's going to involve us some way, shape, or form. And now on top of all that crap, we're making enemies everywhere. Like, we don't have a strong economy like we did under Bush, under Obama. We just don't have that anymore. So if you're going to tell people who are hungry, broke, and tired to go fight a war overseas that has nothing to do with us, for people who are not hungry, who are not broke, and who are not tired, it's going to cause a lot of dysfunction. I can see it clear as day. I can see it clear as day. I don't understand how come we're fighting in wars and having conflicts for nothing that involves us. Like, nothing over there benefits us in any way, shape, or form. We have no business in the Middle East. Nothing over there benefits us. Us being involved over there has pretty much fractured America and is getting ready to be broken. You mean to tell me I can't criticize another country? You mean to tell me I cannot speak openly and freely anymore? You mean to tell me if I am identified as left, I'm automatically considered a terrorist? What? And the crazy part about it is, you know, these same people are screaming democracy and all this other kind of stuff, but it's only okay if you're right, red, MAGA. If you're not right, red, MAGA, nothing else matters. Because if you criticize, you're automatically blacklisted. You're automatically censored. You're automatically considered a terrorist and all this other kind of stuff. But one of the things I always loved about our country is the United States of America for different points of views. But I will say this. I don't think we would have ever came to this point. We would never came to this point in our history right now if we treated traitors like traitors. If we treated traitors like traitors, we wouldn't have the economy or the America that we have today. And what I mean by that, The Civil War, everybody got off super easy, right? World War II, super easy. We we have all this. I don't know. I don't know. When you're a black man growing up in the South and you see all the stuff that's going on, it makes you worry for the next generation. That's why I'm glad I didn't have a bunch of kids. I had one kid and that was it. One kid that I took care of and raised, and I hope that she knows to think for herself and see past the BS in the world. I hope I showed her that, how to do that. It's the craziest thing in the world. But, you're considered anti-America right now, or American, if you're not right, red, and MAGA, and that doesn't make any sense to me. They are trying to rewrite history in our face. They are deleting information in our face right now. Oh man, this is why I always said back in the day, ever since I became an adult, I was like, we should have always had term limits, not just on the president, but also on the House, the Senate, even Supreme Court judges, all of them need to have term limits. There is no reason for anybody to be in any political office for 20 plus years. There is no reason for somebody in their 80s to be running the country or representing a state. You can't be 80 and representing a state of the people. And that 80 years old is not just in reference to Trump. It's to Mitch McConnell. It's to Nancy Pelosi. When you're old and can't walk and function on, hell, if you're above retirement age, there is no reason for you to try to help run the country. There's no reason. There is no reason for anybody above the age, I think our retirement age is 65. There is no reason for you to be in office at that point. Because you are so far removed from how people feel today, it's ridiculous. You will never progress change in the right direction. And in fact, you'll revert change in the wrong direction. And you see that happening right now. And I always ask myself, how much money is enough money? Because you see all these people, if you really think about it for a second, if you're a U.S. senator, politician, House representative, if I remember correctly, you get health insurance for life, you get a really good pay, enough way above the average American citizen. Let's be real here, they have good sources for investments and things of that nature. So you can have an opportunity to use the money you get to make additional money, and the American people are just pissed over. And you hang on and consider that power just to get more money, but for what? You can't take it with you. Hell, I remember growing up in school, they used to say money is the root of all evil, but if you see every single politician all the way up to our president, they're all money hungry. They're not trying to help the average people. And they call themselves Christians, but they're making everybody broke. I don't know. I hope during this time it makes people wake up. Wake up to the point that I don't think it will happen. Like, something extreme will have to happen. What would need to happen, I would think, a major event needs to happen to wake everybody up. And I think part of that major event was the e-files. Because for some reason, everybody's trying to block them. And I guarantee you, a lot of those old-ass people who's been in office for 30 plus years, 20 plus years, are most likely in those files. You always say, release the files, release the files. People ran on, yeah, we're going to release the files. I don't know. Our country is so messed up right now. And it's sad to see. We have literally reverted back to around the 1970s when it comes to the ideology. Hell, I won't even say 1970s, probably 1960s. Yeah, 1960s is more fitting when it comes to the ideology and actions that you see. I remember I said a long time ago in another video that my battery's too low. What's my battery at? My battery's not too low. Yeah, my battery's not too low, but yeah. I just don't understand how you can be living in this country and be happy the way that it is. And the only thing that could save it, if everybody who is a U.S. Senator and House Representative was voted out and replaced by somebody that doesn't have a party, does not have political affiliation. If every single one of them is voted out, then we can have some real change and progress in America. It doesn't benefit America to keep the exact same people that in office that haven't benefited us at all. We need a change. We cannot keep investing in this old ass system that is causing us to suffer, that is causing the American system to collapse. And this isn't like a right wing thing or a Republican thing or a Democratic thing, because I could list things that Democrats has done too that has messed up this country. I can say how I don't agree with Barack Obama bailing out the banks. He should have let them crash. There is no reason for those banks to have bailed out. They should have crashed so we could have rebuilt and had a stronger America. But because they got bailed out, and they know they will continue to get bailed out because the president has been set that they are too big to fail, they could keep screwing over the average American person, American citizen. That collapse back in 2008 should have been a full collapse. All those banks should have been bankrupt and closed, and that way people would have visited their local banks and their local credit unions and try to rebuild themselves back and rebuild the economy that way. Because people always complain that, you know, banks are too superficial and stuff like that. That's by design. That can go back to Barack Obama and him bailing out the banks. Same thing with Bill Clinton. What was that policy he repealed? What was it, Glass-Steagall? I think it was Glass-Steagall that he helped to do when it came to, I think Glass-Steagall, if I remember correctly, is the one that kept banks from investing in the money, or there was a cap on it, something like that. So people always say that, you know, the country be under Democrats or the country under Republicans. No, because they're all bought. Blue, red is bought. And just like how I don't agree or like Trump being in office, I wouldn't have liked Kamala in office either. But the big difference is, though, we wouldn't have a radicalized right-wing party right now, party in power right now. Like I always kept saying, I didn't think Kamala deserved to be president. And I also think she ran a horrible, weak campaign. I cannot dispute that. When you necessarily didn't even earn a nomination, it was given to you, and you don't say a speech or do anything for like the first 39 to 40 days after you gain a nomination because you just felt entitled that you were going to win, yeah, you ran a horrible campaign. She ran a horrible campaign. And just like people are saying, oh, well, if Kamala is president, we wouldn't be involved in all this stuff with Israel, all this other kind of stuff. No, because her husband is Israeli. You cannot sit here and say stuff like that. People always just want to side with a color. You know, that's why I never liked the whole entire Republican and Democrat thing. I swear that is the largest game ever. If you'll watch videos of people that will sit there and blindly follow red, blindly follow blue, even though it's shooting them in the foot. That's why I became an independent years ago. I vote for the people that has my best interest. That's not necessarily bought out. Now, does that always pay off? No. But I hope one day I'll be one of the few people that can say is, you know what? I saw how our system was broken years ago. I chose how to participate in it, not try to fix it from a different perspective. Because you can't fix anything as long as you keep voting red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. Because no matter if you vote red or blue, it's all bought out. It's all bought out. Yeah, it's very weird. It's easier to buy out a party to get what you want when it's just red and blue. If we had a viable, strong third party, and not just for running for president, but also running for House and the Senate, we can have some real change in this country. Because you think about it, red or blue, you just got to buy out the most valuable players, right? People that's been there the longest, had the most influence, the most presence. But it's okay though. People wake up eventually and see how. You know what I have a feeling is? What is it, 2025 right now? I guarantee you by 2035, people are going to look back and be like, yeah, I didn't support this. I didn't vote for this, yada, yada, yada. But the thing about that is, just like how pictures are forever for the most part, so are videos, so are likes or comments. Just like how I remember you'll see people who are like in the Senate or judges right now, and they'll look back and see pictures from them in the 1960s, which again, they're younger sitting here and yelling and cursing and being a part of protests that's against black people integrating to the schools. And then you'll be like, oh, okay. That's how they felt back then. Why do they feel any different now? I don't know. They say America's going to collapse. I don't believe necessarily America's going to collapse per se. It's just interesting to see. It's interesting to see how blind people are willing to be. Anyways, my time's up. I'm going to go. Y'all have a good one.